Did you know that there's things that you could physically do in your Etsy shop to absolutely kill your performance? These are the things that I want to talk about today. I want to give you 5 of the top Etsy killers out there so that you don't do these things and sabotage your shop or your performance. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, what is going on? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. I'm your host, LL, back with you talking about all things Etsy. And today I have a really good episode for you. They're all good, but this one's extra good because I'm talking about 5 things that you could do in your shop to absolutely kill performance. And this is what we want to avoid, right? We want to capitalize on performance. We want to grow our business, our shop, and we don't want to sabotage ourselves with doing something that we shouldn't be doing in our Etsy shop. Now, the biggest killer, or one of the biggest killer, is inaction, right? This is not doing things at all in our shop, not taking steps to improve, not diving in and working on our shop consistently. And that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about inaction. I'm talking about things that you physically do, steps that you're taking, you're trying to improve, trying to get better. You're trying to take action in your business to grow this thing so that you can reach your goals, your revenue goals, make that extra money, maybe go full time someday. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these things that you taking action is good, but these things are not good. So I'm going to give you the top 5 here right now. So the first one is do not make changes too often in your shop. Like I just said, taking action is a good thing. You want to be working on your shop consistently, but you don't want to be making changes too often, especially when it comes to your listings. The algorithm is a finicky beast. It's something that we are always going to be talking about with pretty much any website out there. The algorithm, they all have algorithms. There's all things that you can do to help or hurt the algorithm. When it comes to Etsy's algorithm, making changes too often will absolutely hurt your shop and not help your shop. And it's hard. You open your shop, you're excited, you're motivated, and then nothing happens. You're like, oh crap, something's wrong. I gotta change something. I gotta do something. And that's actually the worst thing that you can do because it resets the algorithm. The algorithm is taking time to place your item in front of the appropriate audiences, to do the research, to collect data, improve, and replace that item. When you make changes, you're resetting things. The algorithm doesn't know what the heck's going on. And it's just going to take longer for that item to perform. Not to mention, the longer that item doesn't perform, the more changes you make that hurt the algorithm. Overall, it's going to hurt the quality score of the listing. So you're never going to bring it back. It's never going to perform. So you got to leave it sit at least for 1 to 2 renewal cycles. Almost stuttered that out. 1 to 2 renewal cycles. Leave it sit. And see, so that usually equates to 3 to 6 months, and see what it's going to do before you decide to make any changes. Do not be too impatient when it comes to this. You got to be patient. You got to play the long game with this. All right. So this is the hardest part, is to be patient and know that things are going to take more time when it comes to building your Etsy business. You're not going to see an overnight overwhelming success more 99% of the time. There are people that do that. That's not the norm. So just be prepared for the long haul, and then you'll be okay. Number 2 is don't change large amounts of listings at once. So when you do decide to make changes, when you wait that 3 to 6 months before you start changing SEO or keywords, testing new things, don't go in and change all of your listings. Change a batch of listings. Usually you want to start with the lowest performing listings that aren't getting visits, that aren't getting sales. So pick the lowest couple listings and make those changes and see if that's going to make a difference over time. You don't want to go in and change all your listings at once. Again, that resets the entire algorithm. So any momentum that you've had, any progress that you've had is going to be reset, usually not for the good. So don't make changes to all your stuff at once. Do it in batches and then wait and see how it performs. If you guys need more help, this is kind of along the lines of SEO and success tips when it comes to SEO. Make sure you guys get my SEO success guide at handmadeandbeyond.com/Etsy SEO success. This will help give you the more tips and best practices when it comes to SEO and more stuff like that. All right, number 3, and this is a big one. This could be the end all be all for your shop. This could be the absolute killer of your shop. And I've talked about this before, but I think it's important to bring up again because I want to beat this horse dead. This horse deserves to be beaten dead because so many people are still making this mistake. I do like horses, so I don't mean it. I don't mean it literally. Do not put trademark or copyright items in your shop. All right. A lot of people still don't understand this. This will get your shop shut down, suspended, and killed forever. Especially if you're a new shop and you start with 20 trademark listings. It's going to get shut down permanently. You're never going to be able to sell on Etsy again. And people don't understand this because they're making the stuff that's trademarked. You cannot make an NFL Vikings knit hat. Just because you knitted it doesn't mean that it's yours to sell. That is owned by the NFL. It's owned by the NFL Vikings, by the Vikings organization. They own the license to that. So unless you bought that license, you cannot make stuff and sell it as your own. Same thing with, I always use Baby Yoda as an example because that blew up. That was everywhere on Etsy. You can't put Baby Yoda on a shirt and sell it. You can't make a Baby Yoda doll and sell it. You can't make Baby Yoda art and sell it. You just can't do it. Any brand out there, you can't use it for your own unless you pay to license it, which is usually very expensive and usually going to be something that you don't want to do. So keep that in mind. The only time you can sell stuff like that is unless it's vintage, it's older than 20 years on Etsy, and you didn't make it. It actually came from Disney or came from the NFL or whatever. It's a vintage item. Stuff that you're making cannot be trademarked or copyrighted. So don't try it. A lot of people think that they can get away with it. A lot of people look at other people doing that on Etsy. Listen, don't do it. You're going to regret doing it and you're not going to last very long. All right, number 4 is another pretty big one, and that is don't ship your products out late. Stick to your processing times that you set. You can set in your profile, your shipping profiles in Etsy, you can set your processing times of how long it takes to ship out items. And then you ship out your items. And then people, when they're looking at your items to buy them, they'll know, okay, this is the processing time. This is how it's being shipped out. This is when I should expect my item. Etsy does that calculation. So if your processing time is 3 to 5 days and you're shipping it out first class mail, they're going to get that usually with anywhere from like 5 to 7 days because they add the two together. If you're shipping your stuff out late and they're not getting it for 10 days, 15 days, they're going to be pretty upset. Not to mention they're probably going to be messaging you through Etsy being like, where's my item? A lot of people are buying their items as gifts. So nothing pisses customers off more than getting their stuff late. This is a great way to get bad reviews. And it's one that you want to avoid. So be clear on your processing times. Try to stick to 3 to 5 days or under. If you guys are making elaborate things that are made to order, people will understand that. So if you have a 1 to 2 week processing time, that's fine. Just make sure that you're setting that in your shipping profile, and people will know and expect that. And expect, especially if it's a more elaborate item that takes more time to create, takes more time to make. People will understand that. Just put it in your processing times. But again, if you're selling something that's not elaborate and your processing times are 1 to 2 weeks, that's also a great way for people not to buy from you because they don't understand why it's taking so long. Most people, again, are getting stuff as gifts, special occasions. Not to, people just want it now. We're in the Amazon world, so we want stuff fast. We want stuff next day, same day. Etsy, they're a little bit more lenient, but you still got to stick to delivering stuff or shipping stuff out as fast as you can and just being clear with those processing times. Very, very important to good reviews, to good service, to shop sustainability if you're getting those good reviews because of your fast shipping. All right, so that brings us to number 5, which is the biggest Etsy killer of them all. And this one can be pretty heartbreaking. And that is if you are making a change to one of your best selling items. I see this happen all the time. People get, I guess I can say it, people get greedy. If something's performing well, you're getting a couple sales a week, maybe a day. and yet you're like, man, it's doing really well, but maybe it could be doing better. Maybe I can really crank this baby up, and get even more sales, double the sales. And then they change something when it comes to the SEO, the titles or the tags or both. They change maybe the picture, and then that listing, what usually happens is it dive bombs. It doesn't do well anymore. They're lucky to get any sales. And the damage is done, man. It is really, really hard to bring that listing back to where it once was, because you just reset the algorithm on it. Even if you change it back to where it was exactly, everything is the exact same as where it was when it was performing, it will absolutely not come back to where it was. You may improve it to get a couple more sales again, but 99.9% of the time, you're not going to bring it back to where it was, because that algorithm is different. The algorithm's always changing, always analyzing. So wherever it placed that item, whatever quality score it gave it, you reset everything. So the chances of it doing the same analyzing and placing it the same way is next to none, just because there's so many variables. There's so many things that change. So if you have a listing that's selling, that's doing decent, please, for the love of God, do not change it. Do not change anything on it. Ride that wave until it starts not performing well. Then maybe you want to consider changing it. But also keep in mind that maybe it won't be performing well for a certain period of time because it's a seasonal item. Maybe there's a certain season that does well. So again, be mindful of what you're selling. Is it a little bit seasonal? And then that should play into whether you're going to make any changes. But really be hesitant to make any changes on a listing that's selling, because the last thing that you want to do is hurt the performance of it and not get those sales again. It's a really sad thing to see people do that and kill their best sellers, just because they think that it can do even better. So just let it alone. For the love of God, don't touch it. Pretend you have grandma smacking your fingers with a ruler, or your nasty teacher growing up, and don't touch that performing listing. But that is it, guys. Those are the 5 Etsy killers that I wanted to talk about today, so that you guys can avoid making those mistakes and killing your shop performance. The last thing we want to do is hurt our shop performance. Etsy is hard enough sometimes. Sales are hard enough to come by sometimes without us sabotaging ourselves. All right. So don't make those mistakes. Make sure you get the Etsy success guide at handmadeandbeyond.com/Etsy SEO success to get more tips specifically to SEO. And there's some other best practices in there. I'll be back soon with another video for you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day.